guys? Allie here to give you an update on all the big wins from this past week by our great Rumpier Sports host and members. Our guy Uncle Dunkle led the charge with over 40K in NFL winnings for week 16. Huge congrats to longtime RPS member D-Rock for his 24K NBA hit on Christmas. The Lil Jordan Humphrey love was strong in the Discord on Monday and led to some huge wins on the Showdown slate. Surprise, surprise, BigT had another big night, pulling in over 100K across sites on the Dolphins Saints Showdown slate. This was just a few days after shipping another 150K in NBA. BigT wasn't the only one repping Rumpier Sports with a big hit. Shout out to Quick on to Cribs, who also took down 24K on Monday's NFL Showdown slate. Meanwhile, Tway Rich hit for over 35K across sites, and Joseph Swartz shipped 215K on DraftKings. The wins just keep piling up in the RPS universe, which could only mean one thing. There is no better time to join than right now. We've recently teamed with SaberSim to offer a great deal on a combo subscription where you can access all of our content and their great optimizer and projection system for one low price. Head on over to rumpiersports.com to get the deal now and start running here with us.
What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. 11-game NBA slate. Big prize pools up top. Always excited on Wednesdays. Joined by my two boys, AP, DC. DC's got the Chiefs hat on. AP doesn't, but he's always repping at the heart. That's for sure. Football's winding down last week. Should be a fun one. Playoffs going to be a lot of fun. NBA's absolutely rolling. Excited to be joined by you guys. I'll go to you first, DC. Talked about running 10 miles today. Man, I only run 2 miles and I feel dead over here. So it's crazy you can do that. But how's your day been going? Slate looks fun. 11 games. What you thinking today?
Yeah, beautiful 11-game slate coming off a pretty good slate, I thought, yesterday. It seems like we're kind of maybe coming to the end of this COVID stuff for most of the teams, although the Jazz may be one of the last teams to go through it right now. Seems like it could be coming for them. So that's big news to watch there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of different ways to go on this slate. 11 games. We still got teams with a number of guys out, so there's value everywhere. Tons of studs. It's another crazy night in the NBA. But if you're watching the show like us, you love it. And we'll hope to get to the winners today.
Yep, Blake said in chat, DC crushed yesterday. Your core absolutely crushed. Props to you. AP's been on fire a little bit 2 nights ago. I know you got the hit. AP, how's your Wednesday going? It's 75 degrees here in Austin. Absolutely loving it. But you said it isn't even close to 75 by you in Nebraska. So you've been inside digging up winners the whole day, hey?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm a little behind, but we're good. We're going to find the winners anyway. We had a bunch of meetings earlier today. Good news on Saber. So one of the additions that the Saber crew is adding is a core play feature. So members with Saber Sim through Rumpier, we're real close. So you're going to be able to pull up Saber closer to lock. AP's core plays are going to be in there. We're going to get DC, the whole team, JSU, and you can sort by, core plays. A player pool function is also being added. Lots of additions coming. So no, we're really excited. And yeah, Monday was good. I'll be honest. Like, I had a terrible Sunday. I was all in on the Chiefs stack, or that game, of course. And that first half was like the nuts. I mean, like the Chiefs scored 28 points. I'm like, crack open a beer, ready to go. Like, 3 points in the second half? Are you Andy Reid? Are you kidding me? I mean, is it Andy Reid or is it Pete Carroll? Like, why are we establishing the run with Patrick Mahomes in, his full allotment of weapons against a Bengals defense that he just destroyed in the first? Yeah, I could go on forever about that, but terrible coaching in the second half, in my opinion. But man, this Bengals, I think we're going to see a rematch here at some point in the AFC. We'll see, because that team looks very good.
Yeah, do they ever look good? I mean, Boyd, Chase, Higgins, Burrow, that's going to be a fun team for a while. NFL's got talent all around, lots of fun. But, hey, NBA's got a bunch of talent too. The injury report is absolutely crazy. Giannis is out. big news on this slate we'll get to, but hit the like button for us, please. As always, appreciate you guys all hanging out in chat. We got Drew Carpenter, Abruzif, Philly, Steve Anthony, Richie Smalls. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Richie Smalls. Hope you have a good day. Nadefy saying plus $800 last 2 nights in the FanDuel cash streets. Way to keep crushing for sure. Members have been on fire for sure. Coordinators as well. The members never win segment. Our boy AP right here joining us. 13,000 in NBA on Monday. Congrats to you, AP. Mangone, $25,000 in NBA. K Falik, $27,000 in college football. Then we got T. Wee Rich, $46,000 in NHL. I don't know if you saw that yesterday, but he went to bed in second place. He woke up with the stat correction. First place, $46,000. I mean, what a way to make some money overnight while you're asleep. Congrats to you, NHL guys, Matty Ice, EJ. Don't get enough credit, but they're absolutely crushing it over here. And then Russell D won $150,000 in best ball. Best ball was so much fun this year. I know a lot of members had some success. I had a lot of fun with it. The Najee Harris touchdown boosted them from 4th to 3rd place for a nice $150,000, 50 more stacks on that touchdown. So shout out to you, Russell D. Was a very fun underdog year, very fun DraftKings year, and excited to run it back. Underdog also has some contests going on for the playoffs too, if you're interested in like that format. Shout out to all the winners. Look, let's get some more RPS members up top today, though. Big slate, 11 games. I say we dive right into it. The first game of the night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got 3 games that start at 7. Houston Rockets, Washington Wizards, 230 total. Washington is favored by 7.5. Go to the injury report for Washington. Dinwiddie's out. Montrezl Harrell's out. Rui Hachimura, Aaron Holiday, Brad Wanamaker, all out. You go to the Houston side. Armani Brooks is out. Sengun's out, but that is it for them. The thing that stands out right away in this game and has to be the big talking point is Christian Wood's price tag. He's 6.2K, which is absolutely silly. The Rockets are a complete mess. I talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago when I was at the Bucks game. Those guys, Armani Brooks and Wood, were trying to throw hands at halftime. Week later, you see Kevin Porter get kicked out of at halftime. He leaves the arena. Christian Wood refused to check in. People were saying Jayshawn Tate fouled out on purpose. What a mess in Houston, but 6.2K for Christian Wood. On the other side, Kyle Kuzma's actually been going crazy, 7-7. Gafford, 6-4. AP, I'll go to you first. How are you approaching Christian Wood? Because he's a lock in cash games. The price is silly. The upside's there, but I don't feel comfortable with Houston, guys. So what are you doing it with high ownership in tournaments on Wood? Talk about the rest of this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, like the Christian Wood thing, one, we have a phenomenal matchup against the Wizards here, short team. One where, like, he's not going to get bullied by Daniel Gafford, and then Davis Bertans after him. Like, this is a really nice spot for a true stretch 4 who has the ability to hit the three-point shot and get to the rim. And then, rebounding upside, everything right here is just perfect for Christian Wood. I'm like, if you listen to like what the coach said, like, he was like, I mean, there's lots of ways you could have handled that, but he was like, we love these guys. Like, some of these matters were, I don't know the exact things, but it was like, God, Kevin Porter Jr., like, I think it was a different situation between him and Christian Wood, obviously, but I'm not worried about that at all. This is a spot where hopefully those guys got things figured out and Wood is going to absolutely smash. And what are we doing, DraftKings? This dude was 8.8K against the Nuggets. Now we're 6.2. A guy that's hit 63, 62, 58, like he's just crushed this year. So I'm going to be very high on Wood. You can also even play Jayshawn Tate, who's played pretty well. Good matchup there. This first game right out of the gate is good, really good. And the other thing too, Kyle Kuzma, another guy who, I mean, he was 8K on Monday. And he was one of the guys that got it done for me in the $200 3 max. And he was 4.5% up. I'm going right back to Kuzma. He's going to get more ownership here today, but still so one thing I did, and we've been talking about it in chat, but like I raised Kuzma's projection to like 48 points, where the industry on Monday, everyone had him right around 37, 36, way under projected because that's, where Kuzma was. And given the situation, though, it just wasn't the same. Even though I bumped him up that high, he still only hit right around 24% of my builds. So my point here is, even though recency bias is going to push his ownership up, I don't think it's going to push it up enough. And so he's going to be the guy I'm very overweight on. Beal, we can go right back to him. And Daniel Gafford, we can go right back to him. So really elite game right out of the gate.
Yeah, 230 total. Definitely a good game. Bradley Beal absolutely been on fire. DC, you've been over him or been on him a lot too. He's 10.5K, so price has gone up, but rightfully so. 43 minutes, 42 minutes, 33 minutes, 57, 63, 55. Gafford, Kuzma. I think this game's tasty. And then what are you going to do with Christian Wood in tournaments?
Yeah, obviously we always want to target against Houston, right? Wherever you can, if there's a tiebreaker to be made, or you just got to project those players for much higher given everything about Houston. Horrible defense, fast-paced, turnovers, blocks and steals allowed, everything you want. Houston is just awful. So you do have to look at these Washington guys. I was on Beal these last two games. He's been spectacular in both, but a small, subtle change, but potentially, in my opinion, a significant change. The reason I was so high on Beal these last two games is because he started at point guard. They didn't have any point guards left on the roster. They do get Raul Neto back for this game. And if Neto starts, right, he'll start at the point guard. That will take the ball out of Beal's hands a significant amount. You know, I know Neto's not the greatest player in the world, but that's just how it'll work. Neto himself at 3,300, if he plays, I think is a very interesting play. That would probably take Beal off the table for me at 10.5K. I still like Beal if he starts at point, but if he starts alongside Neto, I'll go elsewhere. Kuzma, no problem staying there. I mean, he just looks incredible. I know, you know, this run of play kind of seems like it sort of came out of nowhere, but if you just watch these games, man, Kuzma looks he looks kind of unstoppable, just clearly very comfortable in his current role. And it's the Rockets at home, right? So I don't know why he would slow down now. So I like Kuzma. I like Gafford. I mean, I think it's kind of close, honestly, between Gafford and Christian Wood. Gafford doesn't really have a backup either, right? So he's going to be out there as long as Christian Wood is. And, I mean, Wood, we know how volatile he can be, right? We've seen it time and time again this year. If you're telling me Wood is going to be 50% owned in GPPs and Gafford is maybe sub 15%, something like that. I mean, I don't know exactly what the numbers are going to be, but I'm sure Wood will double up the ownership of Gafford. I have no problem making the pivot, same position, same game. Just a super chalky Christian Wood. Listen, a great play at 6,200 cash games. I would absolutely play him as one of the chalkiest players on the slate. I don't know, because he's not so cheap. I mean, he's very cheap for Christian Wood, but a 6K player still has to have a good game, right? Like 30 fantasy points isn't going to get you there. So I'm more comfortable fading the super chalk when it's at least somewhat expensive, right? Like the 3K center that's going to get 30 minutes. It's like they have no chance of busting. Christian Wood, he could play 30 minutes and still not get there in the end. So I don't mind that fade in tournaments. Obviously a fantastic play point per dollar wise though.
Yeah, it's a very big question. There's no right answer for sure. I think AP makes a lot of sense too. If you're going to play him, I say you just go way overweight, maybe even lock him in since he's going to be high owned, of course, then you just get leverage by going all in on it. Whereas, yeah, I mean, fading anybody in tournaments makes sense. 6K, like you said, it's easier to fade a 6K player than, yeah, I mean, just say Biyombo was yesterday and Jalen Smith was out too. So you knew Biyombo was going to get 30 plus minutes in a good spot. Like, obviously that didn't happen, but let's just say that was the case. Right. It'd be really hard to fade something like that. So definitely get both sides. I say, if you want to go Wood in tournaments, you just lock them in or way overweight. If you want to go underweight too, I think that makes sense. Yeah, this very good first game. It's not a game you can ignore. Every single game, or I should say 8 games, at 8 p.m. Eastern and below or sooner. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 7:30, 8 p.m. Eastern. We only have 3 late games, but there is some news in that. So you're going to have a plan, whether you want to backload, wait for Trae Young news, go Bears, stuff like that. But you can't fully ignore these first games for sure. Let's get into the next game. The other game that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Orlando Magic, 213 total. Philly is favored by 9. Tyrese Maxey out. Jake Milton out. Matisse Thybulle all out. You go toward the Orlando side. Wendell Carter is questionable. Cole Anthony is questionable. Cole Anthony did go through shoot-around this morning, so I don't know. Like, if you go through shoot-around, I expect maybe a little more probable than doubtful, but Both those guys are questionable. We'll get the news. Jalen Suggs still out. Robin Lopez, Mo Wagner out. Chumo Okiki is probable. So decent amount of news on this Orlando side. It's not a team I always love playing, though. As far as the Sixers side, Korkmaz coming off a monster game. There's always Embiid for raw points. What are you seeing in this game, DC?
Yeah, the Korkmaz game. I didn't mind him as a play, but I didn't have him. You certainly needed him on.
I had him. It felt nice, but I didn't expect that.
On Monday, a 50 burger from Korkmaz. I assume that's his first, and I'll go out and say I'll never put up.
And last.
Yeah, he'll never put up another 50 fantasy point game. But that doesn't mean he's a bad play today, right? I know his price has come up a little bit, 4,800, but this team doesn't have a point guard. He did benefit from Seth Curry foul trouble. Like Curry got 2 fouls. Curry started at point guard, got 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes. And then Korkmaz kind of just took over and never really gave up the reins after that. But he could do something like it again. It'll be interesting to see his ownership. He was fairly highly owned on Monday. Maybe, I mean, you had him, Tyler. You tell me, are you going to go back to Korkmaz at 4,800? He served you well. I feel like you owe him like another roster spot after that performance.
I mean, man, 11 game slate now though. Yeah. Like I don't think I don't think I'm gonna chase that. The ownership's gonna be low though, but like it's not the same spot. 213 total. Probably not gonna go there personally.
Sure, yeah, I'm probably not gonna go there myself, honestly. But it's still a short-handed team. You know, Joel Embiid coming off a monster performance. That was in 30 minutes. He put up, I know, what do you have, 67 FanDuel points. I'm sure probably even more DraftKings points. Orlando also doesn't have anyone to deal with him, right? I remember on Monday's show, I didn't actually end up playing Embiid, but I was saying on the show, like, Houston doesn't have any centers. They don't have any big men. Embiid is just going to destroy this team. You feel the same way about Orlando, right? I mean, Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba, even if he plays, Mo Bamba is just like the strength difference between the two. You couldn't really get a higher strength difference, and that's kind of Embiid's game right now, right? He's not quite as explosive, but he's just so strong. And when he goes up against these smaller bodied centers, it gets ugly. So I think Embiid's an interesting spend up. I don't think he'll be very highly owned. Korkmaz is a fine play. That's probably mostly it, even for me on a shorthanded Philly team with the lower total. And Orlando, I don't know. I don't really see much there that excites me on this 11 game slate.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's more of a stay away spot than a load up spot for me. Like want to one off at Korkmaz or Embiid, something like that. But I don't think you have to. AP, what are you seeing in this game?
Yeah, great breakdown there by DC. I agree with a lot of it. I mean, man, like if you told me Korkmaz was putting up almost 52 DraftKings points, I would tell you that probably, you know, that Embiid, you know, he's probably taking some of that offensive usage away from Joel Embiid. But man, I mean, it didn't at all. I mean, Embiid
11 rebounds. Like, when are you going to see Korkmaz with 11 rebounds and 6 assists again?
Yeah, insane. I mean, just, you know, going against the Rockets. That's why I love the Wizards today.
Yes.
So, here though, it's man, Joel Embiid. So just the other thing too, what's going to keep Wood, you can't play all these centers, and there are a lot of good centers on the slate. And so that's going to keep ownership down on a lot of these guys. But man, like how isn't Joel Embiid like one of the just best all around guys? Like he is really rounding into form, playing very well. Could be a function of some of these matchups too. You know, but I mean, Brooklyn, I mean, high, you know, really good team there, but still played very good. Man, like if the Magic keep this within striking distance, Embiid's going to get his run and he's going to absolutely smash. So I think you can go right back to him. I think maybe what you do is give Curry a little bit of a bump here because we know the ball is going to be in his hands. He's going to run point. And when I believe the other guy they trust is in Korkmaz, so you can go right back to him. So I think I'm very much in line with DC.
Yep, definitely. Couple pieces on Philly side you can. Orlando, I think it's more of a stay away though. But Wendell Carter news, like Cole Anthony news, if both of them are out, maybe it can fire one of them up or something, one of these other guys. But I'm with you. First game, the Wizards game, definitely better than the second game in the Orlando Philly game. Let's go to the next game. 400 watching though, 121 likes. Do us a favor, hit the like button for us, please. Hit the subscribe down there. Up to lock show, Big T, JSU Holden, I believe. Very important show. We'll see what they're doing with Christian Woodchalk, what they're doing with some other spots. If you're not a member, I don't know what you're doing. Sign up, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for us, please. We appreciate it. Next game, the last game that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Pistons, Charlotte Hornets, 228 total. Charlotte is favored by 10.5. Detroit injury report, Isaiah Stewart out, Jeremy Grant out, Frank Jackson out, Corey Joseph out, Kelly Olynyk out. Go to the Charlotte side. PJ Washington is questionable, which is the only news. I mean, Trey Lyles at 4.7K should get the start at center. He's also power forward and center eligible, which I do like that he does have the forward eligibility. If I play him, I would play him in the power forward spot. He's going to have to play a good amount of minutes. I think he makes some sense. Outside of him, like Miles Bridges maybe. Terry Rozier's played some good basketball. Nothing standing out too much. Trey Lyles would be my favorite play, I think, though. DC, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, obviously the Detroit front court a little bit beat up. But are they still starting Garza at center?
I think Trey Lyles is going to start at center. Garza will come off the bench.
Okay.
Bay at the 4. That's how I'm approaching it. If Trey Lyles comes off the bench and Garza starts, I wouldn't play him, but I'm expecting
Lyles. Yeah. If Trey Lyles is in the starting lineup, I think he's a reasonable play at 4,700. We saw the upside. Generally not a high upside guy, but really good matchup, obviously, against Charlotte. And if he is going to start at the 5, they've shown the last 2 games that they're willing to give him the minutes if things are going well, which, isn't something I would have been sure of a couple games ago. Like, are they willing to let Trey Lyles play 35 minutes? Clearly they are. I think he's fun at 4,700. The other Pistons guys, I mean, Diallo, Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham back now, they're just priced up too much playing without Cade for those few games. So no other Detroit guys other than Lyles for me. Not a ton on the Charlotte side either, to be honest. Looks like PJ Washington is going to return here. That'll cut into, what was already limited upside in minutes for Mason Plumlee. So that takes Plumlee off the radar. The one guy that I think is a little bit interesting, specifically on FanDuel, is LaMelo Ball. You look at like the minutes, the game logs, it's ugly for LaMelo. A bunch of 20 to 30-minute games in there. I went through and looked back at, kind of the substitution patterns and the scores. Popcornmachine.net is the site I use for that information. And just it's a bunch of blowouts, foul trouble, right? Maybe one game I think he just wasn't playing well. Like, the truth is, I'm not really worried. It's LaMelo Ball. I mean, he's a superstar. Are you really worried about his minutes? Of course, his minutes aren't capped. So I think against Detroit, I mean, he could absolutely go wild in this game. I think he'll go completely overlooked given that Charlotte's pretty much healthy, and a discount for him on FanDuel at 8,700. So he's a fun contrarian play, but overall, just too many good spots in this slate to go to Charlotte, who is mostly healthy tonight.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I agree. We got Anthony in chat saying Sadiq. Wait, what did he say? He said my guy Sadiq Bey going off. Man, Sadiq Bey really is going off. He just did it again against my Bucks. Put up another 50 piece. 8.3K though. That's a little steep. AP. What else? We got another guy that said Miles Bridges lock 7,100. So AP, Sadiq Bey, Miles Bridges lock. Talk about Trey Lyles. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is we love these front court players against the Hornets. Just so many rebounding opportunities, which, brings into play putbacks and blocks and steals down there in the paint. It's just such a good matchup, but it's we got Detroit. And I mean, look, like Sadiq Bey, what he's been doing with how limited they are in the front court, like DC said, I mean, he's got a 55 piece, a 51 piece, a 51 piece against New York, the Spurs, and the Bucks. I mean, now you get a matchup that's better than all of them against the Hornets. And no one's going to play him. So, like, as a tournament player, I definitely have some interest. Probably more so than even like Miles Bridges on the other side, who's a good play. But look, here's the Hornets, man. Like, they got Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington may be back, but then you got Bridges, Hayward, Rozier, and Ball. 2 of those guys are going to go off. Like, 2 Hornets guys go off every slate. And then the 3 or 4 of them are not going to go off. So you're trying to pick and choose who it's going to be. I was pretty high on Terry Rozier. He got it done for me on Monday. But man, if you played him, your chat was probably tilting him early on, like through 3 quarters. He got it done right there at the very end.
Someone did, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Someone always is. But yeah, I mean, it's the perfect spot to go back to LaMelo Ball, go back to, Hayward. He's like, man, he's a trappy price tag. He put up 48 against the Wizards. This is going to be a slower pace game. Detroit doesn't want to necessarily push the pace. But I mean, these guys are cheap. So it's a really interesting slate. I'm still working on the heat map. There's going to be a lot of green on it because there's a lot of good plays, and it comes down to picking who you want to put into your lineups. Like there's going to be a lot of not bad decisions, I think, on this slate. So which has me intrigued from tournaments because I like to just, get overweight on a bunch of players. And I think we're going to be able to on the slate because I do see ownership spreading out. So for me, I'm going to go right back to Terry Rozier. This dude just, he's a baller. They like to give him good minutes, and he just shows really nice upside. He's got the downside too, but I don't mind that. LaMelo Ball, I'm going to have him. I'm not going to play them in the same lineup. And then, Miles Bridges, the price tag is low there. Gordon Hayward's the one where I want to underproject him. Like he's not having his best season. So he put up 54 against the Spurs. What did he do? He followed that up in a good matchup against Portland with 10 fantasy points. So we know this guy is all over the map, and we know he's going to get some ownership today. So on the Pistons side, I think you can make a case for Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey and Trey Lyles. But again, do you really want, I keep going back and forth. I'm like, do I really want to get a lot of ownership of the Pistons on a nice slate like tonight? So tough spot, but man, one of the best matchups on the slate. And everyone seems priced down except for Sadiq Bey.
Yeah, 228 total, and this game's really not going to have too much ownership because of the prices, the spread. Charlotte's so tough to roster sometimes because they have Kelly Oubre off the bench, PJ Washington if he plays, Cody Martin, Jalen McDaniels. They have guys that gets minutes, and it could be a Bridges day, it could be a Hayward day, it could be a LaMelo day, Rozier. So if you pick the right guy, you're going to get a good score probably. But like you said, Hayward got 10 fantasy points. The floor is lower on some of these guys with so many bodies. So let's get into the next game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the San Antonio Spurs, the Boston Celtics, 223.5 total. Boston is favored by 7.5. On the Spurs side, DeJounte Murray is probable, so he should be back. Doug McDermott, Lonnie Walker is doubtful. As far as the Boston side, Peyton Pritchard's out, but that's about it for them. Two pretty healthy teams, as pretty much as healthy as you can get at this time of the season. I'm pretty much just crossing this off, making an 11-game slate, a 10-game slate personally. AP, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm not going to be playing the Spurs with DeJounte Murray back. And that takes White out of play. Maybe Devin Vassell, but again, being on a back-to-back here, we've seen how cautious Pop can be at times. So I'm definitely going to be lower on this game. And then if everyone is back for the Celtics, we just talked about two really, three decent spots. If you include the Philly guys in there, we don't need to go to this game. So I am most likely crossing it off. And yeah.
Yep. DC, you agree? Go to SaberSim, click this game, just click the X out of every single one and just move on.
Yeah, this is the game that I hope doesn't have some weird late news that I didn't anticipate, because I couldn't even tell you what the prices are on the players in this game. I saw everyone's healthy on both teams. 11-game slate, there's just no way you're going to it. So, easy pass.
Easy pass for sure. Delarose Sports said, love me 1% Murray. Hey, you'll get him at 1% today. Sure. It's not going to be for me. It's DeJounte Murray, so I'll never say no, but it'll be 1%. Think you go and SaberSim, no. Click this game, you click everyone off, and you just move on, make it 10 games. So let's get into the next game. The Brooklyn Nets, the Indiana Pacers. We got a 224.5 total. Brooklyn is favored by 8.5. Go to the Pacers side, and it's about the same as it's been. Malcolm Brogdon, LeVert, Duarte, Jeremy Lamb, Keelan Martin, all doubtful. Torrey Craig is now out. Goga is also out as well. You go to the Brooklyn side, big news. Kyrie Irving is making his debut. there's been weird quotes like Steve Nash. It's like, I'm not going to play him upwards 30s minutes, but he's still going to play. I'm projecting him for low 30s minutes, about 30 minutes for Kyrie today, but he's back. Joe Harris is out. LaMarcus Aldridge is probable. DC, I'll go to you in this game. I mean, Kiefer Sykes, 3.3K, but man, what a game he's had yesterday. I've been following this guy for years back at Green Bay. I never expected that he could do this in the NBA. I mean, I played him in a tournament a couple of years back. He was doing what he did to Alec Burks to me a couple of years ago. I didn't think he had this in his game, but 3.3K, Kiefer Sykes getting the minutes. I think it's a very strong play. Dwayne Washington, Miles Turner, and Justin Holiday were very disappointing yesterday. Sabonis was disappointing yesterday. So what are you doing with this Indiana side? Because I think there's good pieces, but back to back, it's pretty interesting. And then what are you doing on the net side?
Yeah, I thought I made a pretty good case for Kiefer Sykes in yesterday's show. Obviously it's popular play, but just looking at the data, we were kind of discussing how you figure out these guys we haven't seen play very much. I look at the data on NBA.com/stats and it showed that Sykes was clearly the one that is kind of picking up that Brogdon/McConnell/LeVert role. No, we can't do it in the same way those guys can do it, but he's clearly the guy that they trust the most to kind of fill that role. You saw yesterday, dominant performance. Again, you can't expect anything like that. He doesn't need anything like that to end up on the optimal roster at 3,300. I don't know why he went down in price. I had 100% of them yesterday, and I'll have 100% of them today as well, assuming all these guys are indeed out for Indiana, which we expect them to be. So Sykes, to me, I thought he was a free square yesterday. I kind of think he's one tonight, assuming the news goes as we think it will. Sabonis, I don't mind going back there. I think after that game, people are going to say, oh, it's not going to work with Sykes. Sabonis had the ball a ton. Things just didn't go his way, didn't shoot very much. I think that could change in this one against Brooklyn. So Sabonis as a tournament play, 10K, people are not going to want to pay that. I get it. But I could see him rebounding. I don't mind playing him with Sykes. No other Pacers for me outside of maybe Dwayne Washington if you need the savings. And then with the Brooklyn side, I mean, with Kyrie back, Harden and Durant healthy, I don't really see playing any of these guys when all three are in there in most scenarios, frankly, if their prices are where they are right now. So, and then, with those three guys, you're not going to any value on Brooklyn, I wouldn't think. So Brooklyn, a complete fade for me, a rather easy one. Give me Sykes and then give me some Sabonis in tournaments as well.
Yeah, I agree. Brooklyn completely cross off. I'm glad they have Kyrie at 8-9 and not like a 6K price like Wood or something where they're pretty much, begging you to play him. So I'm glad they did it right. No Brooklyn. AP, what are you doing on this Indiana Pacers side, though? Because they're still without a lot of bodies. We've had a couple game sample size. We know where the minutes and rotations kind of going. So what are you doing?
Yeah, I watched a lot of that game yesterday, and I'll be honest, I made the mistake of I kept his projection. I thought he was a little over projected, and so I under projected him because I thought Justin Holiday would get more of the run or usage, and same with Sabonis. I really thought the offense would go through him, but what I saw was kind of what DC alluded to. It was a lot of Kiefer Sykes and Domantas Sabonis back and forth. It looks like he's the guy that they trust. This dude looks small out there. They say he's 6 foot. I'm not buying that.
He's like
zero
5'9".
chance this dude. This dude's 6 foot.
He's
that
5'9".
dude looked like a full.
That's what the Pacers run, though, right? It's that two-man game with Sabonis, and whoever's in that role, whether it's Brogdon, McConnell, LeVert, or now Sykes, that player produces. So
yeah, and it's like, what are they? They're probably going to do what? Like put Kyrie Irving on him? He's not a good defender. So almost a better matchup. Even the Knicks were just atrocious defensively yesterday. That's maybe a function of they've had 900 different starting lineups. The Knicks, so they have that team just can't figure it out. Obviously, COVID doesn't help, but so yeah. Here's what I'm going to do though. I'll tell you guys this. So Kiefer Sykes is 3.3, Dwayne Washington 3.8. You're only able to play them at the point guard or guard spot. And what I want to do is play one or the other. And so that's something I got to figure out. I don't know if I want to play both in the same lineup. I think maybe in cash. But look, we have so many elite center options on this slate, and we have many, many elite guard positions. So I guess how I look at it is, do I really want both of those guys in my lineup? Probably not. I think it's going to be one or the other. is how I'm going to approach this. But obviously, a very good spot. I do think you go right back to Sabonis, and then man, so I was between Pirtle and Turner. I had them projected somewhat close, and I'm like, well, Turner has no backup really. He's going to get a ton of run here, and he can hit some threes. The dude was just terrible watching him play, and I don't watch a ton of Indiana, like I'll be honest, but like, gosh, he just wasn't involved at all. I mean, this dude took 4 shots the entire game, and all your main dudes are out. And so like Sabonis is going to be the guy that if this game stays close, he definitely has the upside here. Miles Turner's tough to trust, but man, we've seen it. We've seen upside from him, but luckily he's at that center spot tonight, and I don't need to worry about him because we have other really strong options. So for me, it's Sabonis, it's Sykes, it's Washington, and then I'm with you guys fading the Nets.
Yep, definitely do agree. Yeah, Sykes, Sabonis, you got to have some interest there. As far as the Justin Holiday, like he only played 20 minutes yesterday. He just was out of the rotation. It was really weird to see. Torrey Craig played some pretty good ball. Now Torrey Craig is out though, so they're even shorter than they were. But man, it was just really weird to see that. And as far as Kiefer Sykes, yeah, like Sabonis, you can tell in the pick and roll, like he fakes passes to Washington or some other guys, gets it to Sykes because they do have good chemistry on that pick and roll. So definitely agree there. Pacer side makes sense. As far as the Brooklyn side, I think it's a pretty easy stay away. Before we get into the next game, our boy Nadesify wants to give out a $40 ticket to a member. So you do have to be in Discord. He wants me to pick it out. So I'll say go to the live show chat. You only get one thing, but put a GIF in the chat. GIF. I don't know how you say that, but you only can do one. If you start spamming or see more than one, you're going to be out. One GIF that makes me laugh. Anything it can be, but I'm going to pick one that makes me laugh. Shout out to you, Nadesify, $40 ticket. He says you have to be a member. So go in the live show chat in Discord. Only one GIF. You can't post more than one, and I'll pick a winner at the end of the show. Shout out to you, Nadesify. We got about 500 watching, 185 likes. You guys are doing pretty good. We appreciate it if you hit the like and the subscribe for us. Let's get into the next game, though. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Golden State Warriors, the Dallas Mavericks. Golden State is favored by 5, 213.5 total. As far as Golden State, Otto Porter and Andre Iguodala are out. That's about it on that side, though. As far as Dallas, Porzingis is out. Boban's out. Willie Cauley-Stein's out. Trey Burke is questionable. So two relatively healthy teams. Porzingis is some news. Go over to you, DC. What are you seeing in this game?
I don't see anything in this game that I feel like I have to play, right? It's pretty much GPP plays in this one. I mean, Steph Curry, you want to play him at 10-9. I know those guys from Golden State are out, but I don't really see any like direct beneficiary, really. Any value play that's going to emerge from Golden State that would interest me more than some of the other value plays. So it would just be Curry. Maybe you play a Draymond Green, play them together if you want to. Hope they go off, and they'll both be very low owned. You strike lightning in a bottle. It could easily happen on any night with Steph Curry and to a lesser extent Draymond. And then on the other side, Luka. I mean, he's looked really, really good in these last 2 games since returning. Especially last game, 62 fantasy points against Denver. I had him that game over at FanDuel. He's $10K. He's still that same price tag. So a nice discount for Luka, who's looked good, looked like himself. I know the matchup's relatively tough against Golden State, but they are missing guys too, and this is at home in Dallas. So, yeah, no reason Luka couldn't be the top scorer on the slate. I think he's a good play, frankly, on both sides, DraftKings and FanDuel. Not a guy that I feel like I need to play, but, one of the studs that is in consideration. There's a few of them. Luka's certainly on the short list for me.
I like it for sure. Yeah, he'll probably be low owned too. I don't have too much interest in this game, but yeah, definitely makes some sense. Luka, you can never go wrong with him. Should be pretty low owned too. AP, any Luka for you? What else do you see in this game?
Yeah, he did look good against Denver. I would definitely play Luka over Steph Curry here in this spot. I don't I like when Luka and Porzingis start together, and then Brunson comes off the bench. Like Brunson just is a guy that can handle the ball also. So I think when him and Luka are on the court at the same time, they take from each other more so than Brunson and Porzingis or Luka and Porzingis when they're on the court at the same time. So This doesn't matter who's out there. This Warriors team is playing such good defense. I'm probably just going to underproject the spot, and if it beats me, it beats me.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's another game that I'm pretty much crossing off. DC likes a little one-off Luka, can never go wrong, but I think the secondary pieces are a pretty easy stay away. 11-game slate, you got to cross off some games. So that's about 2 games, I think we said, maybe even 3 to cross off. Before we get into the next game, we got more good mojo. It was, let me get the name right. I think The Answer said, let me get in the good mojo. I'll match Nazefies and stake $40 as well. So I don't know if you want me to pick that out. I assume you do. The same criteria, one post in the live show chat. I'll pick 2 members, unless Answer, if you want to pick the person, tell me in the YouTube chat, and then you can do that as well. But shout out to you. The good mojo is absolutely rolling on this Wednesday. Shout out to you guys. Let's get into the next game, though. Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is favored by 9. We have a 217.5 total. As far as the Minnesota side, Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell are on track to play today, so they're going to be fully healthy. As far as the OKC side, Lou Dort's out. Derek Favors is questionable. Another 2 teams that are relatively healthy. There's always Anthony Edwards, SGA, stuff like that. Nothing standing out too much, but I'm not the master for these Minnesota Timberwolves. DC, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I think this game might be – it's close. What's the easier cross-off? This game or the Spurs and Celtics one?
I think the Spurs and Celtics, but this might be close. I think they're both cross-offs.
Close between the 2. I mean, I always love Giddey when SGA is out or SGA when Giddey is out, but when they're both playing at elevated price tags, just kind of an easy pass. We know OKC likes to run that deep rotation, right? Any chance they get, they'll just roll out 11 or 12 guys. So just easy pass there. And then for Minnesota – you've got jacked up prices because D'Lo and Towns have missed time, and now they're both back. So you really can't go, in my opinion, to really anybody in the Timberwolves outside of you're taking a shot in the dark at super low ownership, which if you want to play that way, everyone can play their own way. But I can't really recommend really anybody, frankly, from this game. So I got 4 or 5 lineups tonight. You won't find any Timberwolves or Thunder on my teams.
2 for 2, AP. You making 3 for 3, or do you see something we don't see?
No, I mean, God, I'm not gonna play Josh Giddey at almost 8K coming off a monster game. I think the Wolves shut them down pretty easily here today. As long as everyone is in, all the main guys, yeah, I think we can move off of this game. And the funny thing too, I needed Naz Reid to kind of finish things off in that game on Monday. They had such a big lead that the Wolves just started playing, mainly Anthony Edwards, but this ISO ball, not really passing it. They didn't need to. They're just chucking up bad shots, bad threes. And Naz Reid was just running back and forth down the court, never touching the ball. It was just really painful to watch. But it was because they didn't need to. They had enough lead. Who were they playing? The Clippers couldn't hit anything. It was just a really sloppy game down the stretch. But they get all the pieces back tonight. We can move off this game.
Yeah, I had him too. He started off really hot too. He was about to put up a big boy score, and yeah, he faded off for sure. But I think it's another stay away game for sure. We got 530 watching, 200 likes. Just do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button first, please. Hate always saying it, but we appreciate it. Let's get into the next game. The last game that locks at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then after this, we have a 2-hour window until the next late games. Big game right here, though. Toronto Raptors, Milwaukee Bucks, 221 total. The Bucks are favored by 4. I don't think this is going to be a stay away game like the past couple. Man, this game has some interesting pieces. Why is that? Well, Giannis is out. Grayson Allen out. Pat Connaughton out. Dante DiVincenzo out. George Hill out. Thanasis, Semi Ojeleye, and Jordan Nwora are all questionable. So Jordan Nwora, I just got to say this quick. Of course, so I'm out on Friday on New Year's Eve, and I look across the bar, and it's Jordan Nwora there in one of the busiest bars in Milwaukee. I looked at my buddy. I'm like, well, he's going to be in health and safety protocols next game. Sure shit. I'm on the way home from the airport. Jordan Nwora out, health and safety protocols. So what's that? That's Friday. I don't know how all this COVID stuff goes, what their parameters are. Now it's Wednesday. I don't know. I don't think he's going to play. I don't know if he's fine by now. But yeah, I was like, of course he's going to get COVID. He's in a bar with 700 people in Milwaukee. So he's questionable. Who knows what that's going to do? We're probably not going to get the news before lock. Maybe we do. As far as Toronto, Mikhailuk, Watanabe are out. The Bucks side, though, like if Nwora plays, I definitely have interest on both sides. 4.7K, he'll probably start. He shoots a lot, makes a lot of sense. Middleton and Drew Holiday are two of the better plays on the slate. Very strong. 7-3 for Middleton's a joke. 8-2 for Drew. He always not always smashes, but without Giannis, he's always a strong play. There's Bobby Portis. On the other side, Toronto, I mean, man, we've seen them run really tight rotations. Yesterday, this is a back-to-back, but yesterday they blew them out, so they didn't need Fred VanVleet in the fourth quarter. So the minutes should be good. It's a close spread. DC, I'll go to you. Talk about what you're doing on the Bucks side and any interest in Toronto.
Yeah, blowout yesterday was painful for me. I had a nice night, but I had Siakam and VanVleet on all my teams. But, I mean, the rotation that Toronto's running right now is just so tight that it's hard to avoid these guys. Siakam, I talked about the big change that they've made, starting him at center. He got in foul trouble in the very first couple minutes of that game, so missed most of the first quarter, but came back. And then when he's in the game right now, Siakam is playing with a lot of confidence. Before the Giannis news, this game was maybe going to be somewhat of a cross-off for me, but you take him out, you take Connaughton out. I know Grayson Allen's not a good defender, but still, my worry for Toronto was just that the Bucks defense, right, can be smothering at times. You take Giannis out of there, right? I think it's a different story. Tyler, I'm interested to hear your opinion just on their defense with and without Giannis. But to me, now Toronto has a chance, right, to run with the Bucks, keep this game close. VanVleet, Siakam, even guys like Scotty Barnes on FanDuel at 6,400, OG at 6,300. I'm telling you, these guys will play 40-plus minutes if they need to beat the Bucks or to come close to beating the Bucks. You can launch threes against Milwaukee, behind the arc threes. I mentioned that a lot. That's what Fred VanVleet, that's what he did yesterday. That's where all his points came from launching from deep. Siakam will launch them from deep. Gary Trent can launch it from deep. So I like all five, frankly. The Toronto starters are going to play big minutes. You just know it. And then on the Bucks side, like with Giannis out, with Connaughton out, with Grayson Allen out, I think Drew Holiday becomes an awesome play. Middleton, give me Holiday over Middleton right now, just playing, in my opinion, better basketball. But
even
both
with
guys,
the price? Even with the price, you say?
At least on DraftKings, yep. I'll take Holiday over. I'll take, plus or minus 5 points, minus 5-6 points for sure. And then Portis, I think, becomes an interesting play. And then Nwora, if he's in there, because he would only have missed, one or two games. So you would assume that he tested positive but didn't actually have it. Seems like he could play. I'm seeing questionable.
Yeah, he could.
Which kind of makes me think he's going to play, right? That must mean he is. They think he can clear him, or he's not sick, one or the other.
I didn't know if, does that mean they're waiting on him to take an afternoon test, to see what comes back? I really don't know what that
means. It either means they need the test, but they think he could get it because he doesn't feel it because he's not sick, or it means
Coach Bud now has it too. That's why I was like, what? Nwora gives it to Bud, he gives it to everyone else. It's all going through my head. We have no clue what's going on.
Anyway, if Nwora plays and starts in this game, they're pretty thin. I think he becomes an awesome play at 4,700. So. Yeah, a lot of plays here, tough to narrow it down. In my opinion, that's kind of the difficult thing about this game. But this one is one where, you stack this game up, you get overtime or double overtime with these guys because you know who's going to be out there, right, for both teams. So this is one where I don't mind giving up some points on the projection to try to kind of hit that jackpot scenario where you've got all the studs on both sides and you get the close game, you get overtime, and you could see a lot of guys on both sides getting there in this one.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And you asked about the Giannis. Yeah, Giannis without the court, the defense is night and day for sure. You know who's going to play on Toronto. If Nwora plays, definitely a good play. But let's say Nwora, Thanasis, and Ojale, who are all questionable, all are out. Man, they are so short. Even a DeMarcus Cousins. But the thing with Portis and Cousins, they're only center eligible on DraftKings, which I like Portis more on FanDuel because he has that power forward eligibility. But I think that also reduces his ownership, and we know his ceiling there too. So
if all of those guys are out, you'll see Portis and Cousins, I think, play a bunch together, right? Because Portis will slide to the 4. If those guys are all in, though,
Sandro would play a little bit, but I think they definitely would share the court. I mean, they'd be really, really sure. They'd have Rodney Hood. I mean, Well, I mean, we won't get the news, but you have to. I mean, we might get the news. It's 8:00. It's an hour after lock. We could get it. Nwora, I think, is the biggest news though, because if he does play, he definitely is a good one. AP, how do you see this Bucks side? And then are you going to anybody on Toronto?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys say. And I have DeMarcus Cousins on the heat map right now, just shaded yellow with Nwora and yellow, because I, was thinking that same thing you guys said. Is there a chance if Nwora misses that Portis moves to the 4, Cousins at the 5? We saw what Pirtle did. It's not that the Raptors are worse against bigs. It's just they're, from a rebounding standpoint, an opposing big is going to have a nice advantage there. But gosh, this game just looks I love what DC said too, because the one thing you're going to get out of the Raptors, especially since they're coming off a blowout and no one really pushed that many minutes. We've seen Fred VanVleet play 40 minutes and then play it back to back and play another 40.
I watched that game yesterday. Trust me, the Raptors guys, they're good to go. They're not
for sure.
And the Bucks are favored by 4 in this. So, Vegas thinks it's going to stay close, even though they're shorthanded. I think it's going to be a good basketball game. You can play wings against this Bucks team. You run it back. Drew Holiday, he's just been playing so good. I just think, man, Middleton, he's going to have to produce here. He's had a really bad season for him, in his standards, especially in these spots. But at 7,300, he's definitely going to be a good play. I hope Nwora plays. This dude can ball. Man, he's been playing good this year. He's just been playing so good. I would love to just, jam him in, assuming he's good to go. But if he doesn't, you're going to want Middleton, Drew, and you're going to want Portis is kind of who I'm thinking. But we want to wait for these starting lineups, which we're not going to get until after lock. So this is making out to be a really fun slate tonight for sure.
Yeah, definitely a fun slate. And this is a game that, I think the Toronto side is going to go pretty much unowned. I mean, some pieces, but if you're going to play Middleton, Drew, Nwora, Bobby, something like that, running it back makes so much sense since you do know where the minutes is going on this team. Fred VanVleet, I know Big T was talking about it yesterday. He's underprojected almost every single day. I mean, he's playing all the minutes he can handle. He was on fire yesterday and would have went off if it wasn't for no fourth quarter. So I think Fred VanVleet, Middleton, Drew, you can stack this game up and have some fun with it. Big total, close spread. Definitely do like this game. Hit the like button for us, please. We got 3 games left. Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets, 223.5 total. Utah is favored by 2.5. Go to the Utah injury report, and they're starting to get hit with it a little bit. Joe Ingles is out. Gobert questionable. Bogdanovich questionable. Royce O'Neal questionable. Hassan Whiteside questionable. You go over to the other side on the Nuggets. Let me pull it up quick. We got Austin Rivers questionable. Monte Morris questionable. Marcus Howard out. Jeff Green out. So not the biggest news in this game. We got a little stuff. Nothing in this game I think is worth saving too many spots for. Obviously Gobert matters a little bit, stuff like that. But with so many 8 games in the first window, I don't think you save for this game personally, even though we do have Trae Young news later. You might want to. I don't know. Will Barton, I don't really know. Jokic is always a good play for sure. 12K, I think he makes sense. But DC, you see anything outside of Jokic really that interests you?
The Jazz side, I mean, if these guys miss, in particular, Hassan Whiteside, I think would become one of the best plays on the slate.
He's also questionable too.
Yeah, I understand. So Whiteside coming off concussion, that's why he's questionable. But I think it's been 5 or 6 days now, and he did shoot around this morning. So if he's questionable,
I assume he's playing. Okay.
Yeah, I assume he's playing, right? I mean, he's questionable with concussion. That usually means that he's medically cleared to play, I would assume. And he went through shoot around. So you would, I kind of assume he's playing. Gobert, who has 2 things, right? What is a non-COVID illness, I think is what they're listing him as. Yeah, and a shoulder. Yep. Didn't participate in shoot around. And you have COVID perhaps about to start going around this team anyway, with Joe Ingles out, right, already with the with the protocols. I think, is that right? Is it Ingles? Yeah.
Ingles out protocols.
So I mean, Gobert could actually, maybe he's actually got it too, and he just tested negative yesterday, right? Maybe it's non-COVID illness. I don't know. To me, I'm reading the tea leaves here, and it seems like Gobert is likely to sit with one of like 3 different things it could be. And then I think Whiteside is probably going to play, is just how I'm reading the situation. If that's true, I mean, Whiteside is smashed in his minutes. He will get the start at center, and he just plays the Rudy Gobert role, right? Like they're like the same player. Whiteside's just not quite as good at it as Gobert is, but from a fantasy perspective, he's pretty damn close with his minutes on the court. So to me, Whiteside is such a strong play if Gobert misses that I have to save a spot for him, because I think he would be a favorite to go 10x the salary, right? 35 plus fantasy points on DraftKings if Gobert misses. So that's the type of player I got to save a spot for. Luckily, plenty of late games, so if it doesn't work out, you have a plan. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I mean, Jokic is Jokic. Like, he's probably going to crush again. He almost always does. There's not really that much more to say about it, frankly. But Whiteside is the interesting one to me in this one.
Yeah, K-Fleet Burner said Gobert didn't go through shoot around 2. He's 3.5K. He's always been a good fantasy point per minute producer when he plays. So you'll get him really low owned. I mean, it's not comfortable saving a center spot until the later games. But if you're right and Gobert's out and Whiteside's in, definitely
you'll be happy you have the spot if Whiteside gets the start. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you make really good points there. AP, how are you handling this situation? Anybody else you see in this game?
Yeah, just thinking back to earlier this year, Jokic put up 41 DK points in 15 minutes, and I believe he got hurt, but he rebounded the next game and played a bunch of minutes. But man, so like normally, I always avoid a matchup against this Jazz team, but if they're shorthanded, and if they're without some of these guys, then yeah, Jokic could be an absolute smash play. This is one of those tough spots. How do we handle a situation like this? Well, we already have a lot of really good spots on the slate. We know that information. We don't know this information. I would run some scenarios like, if some of these guys are out, does it make some of these other, is it going to be a better spot than some of these other situations? And I Whiteside, yeah, if he was in, Gobert's out on a fantasy point per minute basis, sure. I still think a matchup like Jokic would destroy Whiteside. Like, Whiteside's just good against teams that try to get to the rim, like, he would absolutely own this guy. And I mean, but he's 3.5K. Gosh, like, I hate the Jazz anyway. Like, I don't think I'm going to prioritize a spot where I'm like, oh, I'm going to avoid this play earlier on in the slate that's really good to wait for this news. I just, if all these guys get ruled out and this spot beats me, I'm going to say it beats me. But it's the Jazz. All of these guys could get ruled in. Bogdanovich, it says finger sprain. Royce O'Neal, patella, Whiteside, concussion, like you said, Gobert, his shoulder. I think some of these guys definitely play tonight, unless it's like they're masking like a COVID situation. But my guess is that hits, in a game or two. If one, that's kind of the trend that we're seeing. One guy gets it, then the other guys start to get it. That's kind of my prediction. But I'm hoping that many of these guys play, especially the bigs here, so that I don't have to worry about that situation. And then I agree. So I'm fading the Nuggets outside of Jokic. Jokic is just, he's always a tournament play, always a solid option. And I think he's going to be pretty low owned tonight too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm hoping these guys are rolled in too, because I think I'll be having too many drinks in me by 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, where I probably won't be adjusting. But I agree. Like, Rudy Gay, people are mentioning, like, if these guys are out, Rudy Gay would become a very good play at 4.3K or 3.4K, excuse me. We just don't know the news. We won't get it until those games end. But hey, Trae Young, and we'll get to the next game, he's also questionable. So if you do want to save some backloaded lineups, you're playing the night slate or something like that. If the news breaks the way that you think it's gonna, if Gobert's out like DC thinks, Whiteside starts, maybe Bogdanovich out stuff too. I mean, it'd be a game we're interested in. It's just you're taking a little risk avoiding some of the first games too. Let's get into the next game, though. Second game that locks at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings. Big boy total, 234.5. Atlanta's only favored by 2.5. So this game's supposed to be a lot of fun. Go to the injury report. Atlanta side, John Collins out, Bogdanović out, Cam Reddish questionable, and then Trae Young is questionable too with that back. I don't really know. Like, I'm expecting him to play, but that's just me expecting. Like, Trae Young usually plays. He hasn't been hurt really this year, so I'm expecting him to play, but take that with a grain of salt. As far as the King side, Terrence Davis questionable, Holmes out, Metu out. We saw Sacramento play yesterday against the Lakers. They played Damian Jones and Alex Len. Tristan Thompson didn't even play, so I expect that to be the starters how the front court minutes go. I don't know. DC, I'll go to you, but what are you seeing in this game?
Yeah, I'll continue to stay away from the Kings when I can. I think this is a slate when I definitely can do that, so I won't be playing a ton of Kings. I know some of these guys have been playing well recently. Fox down at 7K, coming off a pretty good game, but still just not the stealing. I mean, 41 fantasy points. It's kind of, sort of a good game, but not one that you have to have. The Atlanta side, I mean, I assume Trae Young's going to play. His back hurt because he put up 56 and 15 on Monday. Of course your back's sore the next
Someone
day.
said, I'm Wesley, said that there's a tweet indicating he's going to play too. So, let's go with that.
He's going to be in there. He's going to smash again. I mean, Bogdanović out is a big deal, I think, for Trae Young, as is John Collins, right? Those are the two guys on this team that can kind of do it themselves a little bit, right? Collins can ISO, you can post him up, just a good score, like a kind of a good individual score. Bogdanović can run some pick and roll. You take those two guys out, and this becomes just the absolute Trae Young show. Last game, listen, you're not going to expect that, but there's no reason he couldn't do it again against Sacramento, right? I mean, same guys are in there that were in there last game. So, I love Trae Young at 10.7. One of those guys that you can kind of get in your lineups along with, say, a Whiteside, right? And then you got a lot of flexibility. If you've got an expensive player and a cheap player, you can kind of go in any direction. So he makes a lot of sense for me just because I kind of want to backload and wait for that Utah spot to see what I'm going to do. And if I end up on Trae Young, fantastic. If I need to pivot in a different direction, that's fine too. So he is kind of a little bit of a staple for me, just almost because of when his game is. Like for me, between him and Luka, super, super close. I'd take Trae over him. But the fact that he's got the later game means that's the direction I'll generally be going.
Yep, I definitely like it. I'm starting to catch up in these live show chat looking at these gifts. You guys are doing a good job. So winner will be picked. Shout out to Nate Defy. And for someone, I think he had like a quiz or something in the YouTube chat. Someone already won it. So shout out to you guys again for that. AP, big total, close spread. Anything that stands out to you in this game?
Yeah. So, I mean, God, I was watching that game closely. So it was Yusuf Nurkic just came in and absolutely hammered Trae Young when he was going to the rim. So, not surprising. I thought it was his elbow that was really hurting him, but he has to play here. You have to think he plays. And smash spot. But man, guard is loaded. I mean, we're going to get to this next game that I think could be the nuts too. So many really elite spots. I agree. So De'Aaron Fox is playing better. We've seen it. He's been a much better scorer. But again, the guard rotation for the Kings is just so deep. Davion Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, and De'Aaron Fox. So while one of these guys could go off, it's if you're playing Fox, you're giving up. We have Kyle Lowry, we have Drew Holiday, we have Tyler Hero, Anthony Simons that we're going to get to. I mean, there's just so many options, and I don't know if I can play a guy like Fox over some of those other guys. Will I have exposure in MME formats? Yeah, I will, because I think this game could be the absolute nuts. And we've seen Fox is starting to get his game back is what it looks like. But gosh, the day that Halliburton gets ruled out or vice versa, the other way around, we just got to smash these guys. When they're on the court at the same time, they just take away from each other, and then add Davion Mitchell. I will say, as a tournament play, I'll go right back to Buddy Hield. He is in a really nice groove right now, playing 32 to 33 minutes off the bench. And when he's in there, his job is to shoot threes. And it looks like they're finally getting him rolled. Dude, look, get you open and let you fire away. Now, I will say he was probably a little extra motivated in LA against the Lakers. I mean, they basically like had the deal done, signed him, and then, ditched him and ended up bringing Russ in, which, probably wasn't the best move there. But going against a Hawks team here that is going to be a fast-paced game, lots of opportunities, Buddy Hield in tournaments, I think is going to be a fine play for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game yesterday. Man, that dude, the second he touched the ball, it was going up no matter who was in his grill. He was chucking it, man. He was hitting it too. I love when he plays with Halliburton. Halliburton's such a good passer, very good at high basketball IQ. So when they're on the court together, Buddy's definitely going to get some shots up. Should be low owned. I like that call for sure. We have one more game left. What do we got? 611 watching, 270 likes. Let's make a push for 300. I'm not going to hold the plays for you. You guys are doing good for sure. We appreciate it, but a push to 300 would be very, very good. We would appreciate it for sure. So hit the like, hit the subscribe for us. Last game on the slate, Miami Heat, Portland Trailblazers, 216.5 total. Miami is favored by 2. Going to the injury report. Butler out, Bam out, Dedmon out, Duncan Robinson out, Vincent out, Akpella out, Garrett out, Markieff Morris is still out, Udonis Haslem out, Max Struss is probable. So at least Struss is probably going to get back for him. That's a little K Phalix boy, but obviously I'm kidding. Struss means nothing. Going to the Portland side, Damian Lillard's going to be out for a couple games. McCollum's still out. Larry Nance is doubtful, and Corey Zeller is out as well. Talk about big games, man. Anthony Simons coming off an absolute monster game. He said in the post-game interview, too, that one was for his grandpa. Really cool to see, too, if you didn't see that. Shout out to Anthony Simons, Nasir Little, Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin. I'll just go right to you, AP, because you were talking about it a little before. It's a good game. What are you doing it for?
Yeah, we're going to have a tight rotation on both sides here. The Blazers, this lineup of Simons, Powell, Little, and Nurkic was looking really good. And then they're bringing Ben McLemore off the bench, who, is a three-point guy, hitting a few shots. But none of these guys coming off the bench are taking away from these three main key starters there. So Simons, Powell, and Little. Covington, I'm under-projecting him. Like, this dude just – I can't play him here.
He's dust.
Covington, he is dust. Yeah. Nurkic, though, again, another center. Like, man, he's going to play. Like, they're going to need him in there because they got Omer Yurtseven playing big minutes. And I don't think there's anyone really backing him up that's of note. And Nurkic looked, man, it was the Nurk show. Him and Simons had it going. I was nervous because I was very overweight on Norman Powell, and I needed a big game out of him. I'm lucky that he was so efficient. Like, he hit 9 of 13 shots. They just didn't really and he had 47 DraftKings points, but I'm worried going into tonight's slate playing a guy like that because Little, Simons, and Nurkic were just doing so much. So Powell is the one guy I'm a little bit worried about. I think he's fine again, like in tournaments, but it's Simon, it's Little, and it's Nurkic in tournaments for me. But again, center's just tough because there's so many good spots. And then the other side, like, we saw how fast the Blazers were playing. That's going to just boost up all of these guys on the Miami side. The Heat are 2-point favorites. Kyle Lowry in play. Tyler Hero, arguably, one of the best plays on the slate. He's taken 23 field goal attempts last 2 games. He's probably going to take another 20+ tonight. Like the Blazers, the one thing they still don't do is they don't play defense. So these guys, Caleb Martin, Tyler Hero, these guys are going to absolutely smash. And I think Kyle Lowry is in play. If you want like a deep tournament play, you can look at Kyle Guy. It's very fringe, but they don't have anyone at all. And it's arguably like with Kiefer Sykes and Dwayne Washington in there, you probably don't need to get there. But in tournaments, maybe. We saw that guy put up a decent game earlier. He's going to have to play 25, 27 minutes. If anything, what it does is it just reaffirms how good these other Heat guys are. And then there's Yurtseven, too, who's going to have to play big minutes. So, again, another spot. If you pull up the Heat map right now, I've isolated these spots where just and it's very much in line with what we talked about on the show, actually, which I like. But I've isolated all of these really good spots. And, it's going to be a fun slate. I'm going to have a ton of exposure to this game.
Rookie mistake on mute. Yeah, definitely a good game, though. We got some news a little while ago, like Wendell Carter's in, Cole Anthony is in. So now you don't need to play the Magic and stuff either. Kind of what we expected. DC, I think it's a good game. AP definitely thinks it's a good game. Who are you targeting in it?
Yeah, I mean, you could make a case for all 5 starters on both teams, I think, as reasonable plays. Anytime you can do that, you obviously have a very good game on your hand. This is another, I think, really good game stacking opportunity. You could build your whole lineup basically with this game if you want to. And if this game stays close, hits that total, you get overtime, you know who's going to be out there. It's a good way to go. So Powell, I wasn't on him in that last game. I'm staying off here. I'm with AP. To me, he's uninvolved a lot of the game. It's just too much to pay. You're really relying on efficiency. I'm not sure I want to do that with Powell, but I like Simons. Little 4,600 on DraftKings, just too cheap for the minutes he's going to have to play. Nurkic, especially on FanDuel at 6K, I think is a pretty strong center option. And then I like the Miami side even better. I mean, they played an 8-man rotation last game. That was with Jimmy Butler healthy for 28, 29 minutes. Obviously, Struss wasn't healthy in that game, so he'll come in, but it's still going to be a very tight rotation. I mean, one of those 8 was Chris Silva, the backup center, who played like 7 minutes total. It isn't, like Miami's down to bare bones. You're going to see big minutes out of Lowry, Tyler Hero, big minutes and big contributions out of both those guys. You're at 7. I know his price is getting up there, but producing game after game, and again, gonna have to play the minutes here. Even Max Struss, I mean, he was playing pretty well prior to missing a couple of games, but is back and 5,300. I think he's fine. PJ Tucker, you could go that direction. Miami's just so thin, and the matchup is so good. Portland, by far the worst defensive efficiency in the league, especially over these last few games when they've been shorthanded. Man, I just think Miami, their guys are all too cheap. I could see Miami have 5 guys end up with the flame emoji on the DraftKings app at the end of the night. Blazers could have 3, 4, 5, I would say. So, yeah, one of the best games for sure. And you really can't have too many pieces of this one, honestly. If you find yourself gravitating toward this game, I think you're probably doing something right tonight, to be honest.
Yep, definitely do agree. That was all 11 games. I mean, there's a lot in the slate for sure. It's a really good one, a lot of injury news, but I think we crossed off some games, let you know the ones we aren't targeting. We'll have the core plays, cash chart, playbook, AP seat map, up to lot show, going to be very important. BigT, JSU, Holden. So no better time to be a member. Let's look at the likes. 298. What a push you guys made. Only 2 more for 300, but we appreciate it for sure. It's about time to get in the plays of the day segment. And I'm going to go to myself first because I know if I don't go to myself first, it's going to be taken. I'm going to go in this last game for sure. I'm seeing 12%, 13% ownership, which maybe it's going to be a little higher, but it's not going to be crazy. Tyler Hero at 6.9K. It's somehow not too popular. There's a lot of good plays on this slate, but man, as AP was saying, like the shot attempts are there. He just hasn't shot the ball well lately, but double digit or 22 shot attempts, 23 shot attempts, 17 shot attempts. The usage is there. Without Jimmy, without Bam, gets Portland, who's a great matchup. Sign me up for Tyler Hero, 6.9K in a lot of minutes as the SO play of the day. It's not a 2%er or something. I don't think you really need a 2%er on this slate, but he'll be lower than he should be, I think. DC, mom's basement play of the day. Who do you got for us?
I'm gonna stick with you on the Heat out on the West Coast and take Tyler Hero's backcourt mate, Kyle Lowry. Both these guys are gonna go off. They have to, just based on who the Heat have left and who they don't have left. So, yeah, you start Lowry, Hero, you backload that lineup, you get that late game hammer, and I think that'll be a fun one to watch too with those two guys. I bet they'll be, pouring in the fantasy points all for like 42 minutes out there. It'll be great.
Yep, definitely like it indeed. AP, cap it off for us. The gentleman's call of the day.
Yeah, so I was just doing a little test. It's going to be really interesting. So I'm looking at Kyle Kuzma again, and one thing to note, like I'm looking at projections across the industry. We know ownership is driven by optimizers in today's DFS world. We know optimizers are driven by projections. Like, man, Kyle Kuzma, I'm showing like 36 on him. We're aggressive. We have him right at 43, I believe. And I think we're higher than most sites in the industry. He's still not even like using our projections. He's still not hitting like a ton of my builds. When I ran just a blanket 150. So what's going to happen is I think it's going to push ownership down because you have to bump them up quite a bit unless you set a rule in there, just making sure you have X amount. And I'm not sure a lot of people do that. Kyle Kuzma, I think he's going to go a little under-owned what he should be. 7-7 isn't enough. The guy's playing 39 minutes in a phenomenal matchup here against the Rockets. Kyle Kuzma going right back to him, play of the day.
I like it for sure. Kyle Kuzma, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, the plays of the day. Before we get on out of here, though, I do have to pick a winner from Nadesify. There's a lot of good ones in chat for sure, in the live show chat as I was scrolling. I wanted to pick someone that I don't see too much in Discord. I know some people, the same people win a lot. I wanted to pick someone that stood out. Haven't seen him in chat as much, but we always appreciate people. He's a Run Pure Bets member as well. JSURab9211 is the winner. I'll tag him right here. I just sent in the live show chat. Hit up Nadesify, JSURab9211. There's a lot of good ones. Some of these made me laugh, and I appreciate it for sure. If you're not a member, I don't know what you're doing. Just the community in general. I appreciate every single one of you guys. It's always fun doing shows. Let's get some winners tonight. The playbook up. Core plays will be up. Cast chart, heat map, up to lock show, BigT, JSU, and Holden. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing the RPS members up top. Thanks for hanging out with us, though. That's going to do it. For Simon Behind the Sticks, DC, AP, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.